Good morning, Sharks. This is your Day 14 maths lesson. So today we are learning how to show remainders as fractions. Some vocabulary that you might need today. We need to know what a remainder is. Hopefully you all know that our remainder is the number that is left after we have completed our division calculation. We also need to remember what fractions are, remembering that fractions are part of a whole. So here's a whole, and we can have different fractions that are different sized parts of that whole. We might have 2 halves, 3/3 that make up a whole, etc. We know what a whole is. We've just discussed that. Fractions are parts. The important thing is that they are equal parts. They are the same sized parts of the whole. A divisor is the number that you are dividing by, the number of groups that you are making. And the dividend is the number that is being divided. This is normally a larger number. So here the dividend is 362, the number that is being shared into the divisor's number of groups. Okay, so now we understand our vocabulary. I want you to watch this video and see how to use remainders as fractions.
Now that we are confident to use the bus stop method to find a division answer and a remainder, what we're going to look at now is turning that remainder into a fraction. So here I've got 964 divided by 8, and I'm going to use the bus stop method, as I know how to do already, to work out what my remainder is going to be. So the first thing I do is how many 8s in 9, and that is 1. One lot of 8 is 8, and the difference between 8 and 9 is 1. So I carry the 1 into the next column, and now I have 16 in the tens column. And now I need to work out how many 8s are in 16. And if you want to count your 8 times table and write it down, you can do. And you will see that 16 is 2 lots of 8. So 2 goes in the tens column at the top. Now because 2 lots of 8 is 16, there's no numbers that we need to carry across because we haven't got any difference. Now I need to do how many 8s in 4, and the answer is 0 because 8 is bigger than 4. It's very important if you have a 0 in the tens column or the ones column that you write it in, because if I didn't put that in, my answer would be 12, which is incorrect. My answer is 120, remainder 4, because I didn't count that 4 at all. What we're going to do now is turn this remainder into a fraction. So to help us think about how that might work in real life, we could imagine that I have 964 pizzas and I'm sharing them between 8 people. And I've already worked out that each person is going to get 120 whole pizzas each, but we face a problem at the end because we've got 4 pizzas left, but 8 people. To turn this into a fraction to show what extra bit each person is going to get, what we do is the remainder goes on top of the fraction, and our divisor, in this case it's 8, goes on the bottom of the fraction. So now we can say, instead of there being 120 pizzas each and 4 left over, we can say that each person's going to have 120 and 4/8 of a pizza each. We've managed to share our remainders out. Now, those of us who are confident with fractions will also see that we can simplify this fraction. Because both of these numbers are divisible by 2, and actually by 2 again, we can say that 4/8 is the same as a half. So your answer could also be 120 and a half pizzas each, because these two fractions are equivalent, which means they have the same value.
Okay, so just to recap our steps to success for today, Firstly, we need to calculate the division question using your bus stop method. Then you will find that your answers have a remainder. When we're in year 6, we don't use this remainder and leave it on its own, we convert it into a fraction. This remainder then becomes your numerator of the fraction. The divisor, so the number you are dividing by, becomes your denominator of the fraction. And finally, simplify if you can. For some of you, for example, if you get a fraction of a half as a remainder, you could also convert this to decimals, so you could convert it to 0.5. Step 3 today, I want you to go and complete your learning by questions as a warm-up for using remainders as fractions. And finally today, I want you to complete 2 columns from your learning. Bronze asks you to use your remainder as a fraction only, but silver and gold and platinum asks you to give it in its simplest form. That means that for both of these challenges, you need to simplify to the simplest form.